and welcome to my small little library. Today we're here with Nero, my dog, just because he's cute. But yeah, now that we're coming to the end of the year, I mean it's already like mid-December, or like I think when the video goes up we're already nearing like Christmas. And yeah, I wanted to talk about my reading goals for the next year. And in all honesty, I think I have to preface this with saying like, you don't need to have reading goals. There's no necessity to have a reading goal. Just read what you want and the amount that you want and do everything to have fun whilst doing it. You know, there shouldn't be pressure to reading. That said, I'm a person, I do way better with having like a routine and having goals to work towards, and just like structure. I need structure in my life. I'm not a spontaneous person. I have a hard time if people are like, yeah, let's do something today. I'm like, yeah, please tell me 2 weeks in advance, would you? But yeah, so for me it's easier to set myself a goal and then try to work towards it. I don't punish myself for not reaching my goals. I think there's no sense in that. If I don't reach them, I won't, but at least I worked towards them, and so I will have something done, you know. And yeah, so with that being said, I wanted to talk about my goals for my reading next year. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm only 3 or 4 months on YouTube now, and it's a slow process, but I'm actually really happy with like recording all of this and sharing all of this to look back on. And so yeah, this video is primarily also for me to look back on what wishes I had for my reading for the next year. So yeah, I will probably come back to this one at the end of next year and we'll see how much of my reading goals I actually achieved. So yeah, the first thing that is my reading goal for the next year is to get my TBR down to fit on one of these bookcases. At the moment, my TBR, I will like insert a video here of the shelves, but like I have like one full bookcase and then a smaller bookcase for the German books, and the other one is for the English books, and then the bottom row is like two rows of books, so I can't even see the books that are in the back. And then I also have like a little table where you're sitting on, and behind you there are books, and then in the lower shelf there are also books. So my TBR is it's way too big, my physical TBR. There's no reason why I have so many unread books here, and to be honest, I do enjoy to buy a new book, so I'm also like, I won't keep myself from buying books. I'm just gonna have to try and make sure I read more than I buy. That would be the ideal thing, but yeah. So I won't set a number of books. I think that won't do me any good, but yeah, I would love to be able to like only fill that one bookcase and a little bit extra for the German books, just because those are a lot of like childhood books that I want to read again, because I can't really remember a lot about them. And so yeah, they aren't a high priority, but I do want to read them. So yeah, I'm keeping them, and they are technically on my TBR. So yeah, that is part number 1. Then thing number 2, I want to read more series. I have a really, really big problem with reading the first book of the series and then never reading the next one, or buying the whole series and then never starting the series, because it's so it's just really daunting to look at a whole series already on the shelf and then starting it. So yeah, I have a big problem with that. If you watched last week's video, my complete whole physical TBR, you will have seen that I struggle a lot with buying like series or like from one author a lot of books and then not really starting them. And yeah, I have to do better with that. Especially Brandon Sanderson, I've started quite a few series. Like I have 2 series of him that I started parallel, and then a few like standalone books, and there's just no reason why I started a second series, even though I haven't even continued the first series. Yeah, this year it was really chaotic reading, so it kind of happened, you know? And then I have started the Expanse series this year, only 2 books in, and I think there are 9 books or something. Then I started The Wheel of Time. I have only read the first book, even though I do own the second book. And yeah, I could probably list a few other different series that are exactly the same, and yeah, it's a big problem. Then the third goal I have is to start reading my Fairy Loot or Illumicrate books a lot sooner after getting the box. I kind of always put them on the shelf and forget about them because I didn't pick them out, they are random in the box. But then again, I found that I do actually quite enjoy them quite a bit, at least the ones I've read now from the boxes, and I'm kind of sad that I always just put them to the side and just not read them. And I mean, okay, they are 2 books in a month, and like I won't get that many others then, especially when I have a lot of work to do. But yeah, I'm getting books that I'm not reading and forgetting about them, and then yeah, they never get read, which is a problem, and I want to rectify that. I won't force myself to now go back and read all of them that I have until now, but I do want to make a habit of reading the books when I get the box, just so they won't pile up. I had like 2 huge piles here on the table behind you before I rearranged stuff, just with Fairy Loot books and Illumicrate books, and it's just too much. And I do enjoy getting the boxes, so I won't like stop getting the boxes. I think they're really great. But yeah, I at some point should actually read the books. And then the last goal I'm setting for myself for the next year is to read a few more classics. I'm not one who has read a lot of classics. My reading taste for a long time was very specific, and I still struggle with books that aren't magic or sci-fi. I do enjoy a lot of other books, like you can give me like a thriller or crimi and I will love that as well, but I struggle with fiction, like non-magical fiction, like contemporary fiction. I have a really hard time with that, and so that means I haven't read a lot of classics. I've read books like Frankenstein, Dracula, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Like I've read those and I loved them, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think that reading classics is really something you need to do, but I'm interested in it. And sometimes my preconception that I'm not gonna like them is holding me back from reading them. And so I feel like I should fix that, and I should pick up a few more classics and get to them. Because I also have a hard time with classics because we had to read them in school. Obviously, I had to read German classics in school, but we also read some English literature, and we had to read like 1 or 2 English more classical books. Like not classics per se, but like more of like the English classical books. And so I hated it for a long time to read books like that, just because it reminded me of school, and let's be honest, school wasn't the most fun place for me. So yeah, that's the problem I really want to work on, to just pick it up. If I think it's interesting, just to pick it up and read it, and not like be afraid that I won't like it and then pretty much hyping myself up so much about not liking it that I then don't even have a chance of liking it, just because I'm going into it with the thought of not liking it. So yeah, those 4 things, I think there were 4, are my reading goals for 2023. As you can see, none of these are like a specific number. I always have my 100 books goal on Goodreads, and in the last 2 years I've made it easily. I'm finishing my 3rd year tracking my reading on Goodreads, but the first year I didn't start until April, and then I didn't get to the 100 books reading goal, which like obviously if I started only in April. But yeah, it's gonna be my 4th year setting a goal on Goodreads, it's always 100 books. I get to that. That's really not a problem for me. So yeah, it is also a goal, but it's not a goal that is really important because it gets done just by reading generally. But yeah, the rest of them, they don't have like a certain amount of number of books because I just don't want to force myself to do things, and reading more classics would actually be fine if I just pick up 2 classics next year. I would be fine with that because I picked up classics and I did more classic reading, you know? So yeah, those are my reading goals. And yeah, if you do set goals for your reading, maybe leave them down below. Like, what do you want to achieve with your reading? But only if you really are setting goals, otherwise just like skip it. But yeah, if you liked the video, please leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.